Then he asked who are you. He told I am from Wipro and the HR head. Who allowed you inside? There are plenty of stories.
Welcome, sir. Because some of you might not have seen my message actually. We had two backbones at Wipro R&D. One was called Moses, another one was called God. God is Dr.
Good morning, everyone. Actually, I am so excited. I'm very difficult to speak. The greatest thing what happened in my life and all our lives is the fact that we have got associated with so many bright, fantastic people which came together with a mission which was accomplished. And even after 20, 30, 40 years, we are still bonded, we are still emotionally committed. We cherish our memories. And today it's one of such occasions. I'm very, very happy that many people were able to make it. So let me give you the context of why we are meeting today. We had a WhatsApp group of people exchanging and all these things. So somebody said, 88 MB Road, I did that, and 45 Dickinson Road, we did that, and all those things. I couldn't remember exactly. Somebody said, why don't we meet physically? Why only WhatsApp? That's a good idea. So we said, we'll meet in 88 MB Road. And somebody said, 88 MB Road only. We had to go to 45 Dickinson Road. The building where we started, the basement, and walk through MB Road, remembering the old days. And we were there. Then we were lucky that the fifth floor where R&D was there was vacant and done up. And Wipro kindly agreed for us to meet there. I still believe that was the greatest thing happened to us after Wipro. Because people were ecstatic. I sat here, this is your cabin, this is where we fought, this is where we did that. And all the people connected, whether it's Moses or Jagan or Nair or all people came, whether it's without invitation. That's the power. So we had a very nice day there. And again somebody said, we will meet first of November every year. Because latest weeks is a holiday, it's kind of occasion, all those things. We said we will do it. Unfortunately, COVID came, so we had an online event. Even there it was very good. So where the R&D people participated, gave some performance and all those things. The second year. Third year again it was online. Where we said the performances will be given by the children or grandchildren of the R&D people. Because we are becoming older and the new generation is coming in. So that was also very nicely done. So now that the COVID is getting receding, we said we should have a physical meeting again. We met last year in Cosmopolitan Club. Boring Institute. And as usual, it was great. And then we said we will do again this year. But that venue was not available. So we were wondering what to do, where to do. And as usual, call Moses. Moses said, leave it to me, and it's done. And it has been done. So because Moses is over. So even somebody told me yesterday, the place may not be neat, evening people will come, they make mess of it and all those things. I was a little worried and called Moses in the morning. And I thought we will be, no sir, we come. When I come, fine. So that is the power of the association of the people with which we are associated, we continue to do that. So glad we are meeting again, 5th year. We will meet again, 6th year, November 1st, 2024. So that is the background. So today we thought instead of having performances by the R&D pioneers or their children or something, all these are technologies. We keep reading about the technology, especially the artificial intelligence, machine learning, generative AI. Today newspapers, vernacular magazines, and all those things. It's quite a big technical people. I'm sure somebody don't know what is technical AI. You don't have to raise your hands. No praise. But it is so impacting. Whether you are a grandfather or a father, you are a working, you are a consultant, it is becoming important in your life. As much as we saw in the year 2000 when internet came in, it was a buzzword and all those things, but fortunately we were all active at that time. We were able to study, understand, contribute to the industry. But today, most of us being retired and semi-retired and all those things, but still I thought it's important. And we are fortunate to have a person like Nagaraj. Okay. So we will be working some very, very interesting work. He is one of his job. Currently he is working in Wipro Invest, evaluating these such companies. So I requested him, he readily agreed. And first India will introduce him, and subsequently office talk. It is not going to be very technical talk. That's what we will. So the question is, all these courses should be able to understand. Okay, besides people. So we are making an assumption that the finance will understand. After that, some people can come forward and share their experiences of using generative in their life. It could be anything, not be technical, it could be personal, it could be various things. After that, the rest of the program follows as generative. So thank you, Deviya.
Good morning. Non-technical, it doesn't go well. Ramesh needs technical. So jovially I tell those guys, if you talk to Ramesh Nagaraj, in the 30th second, and if you are lucky, 90th second, he'll be talking about a device driver. Whether he is talking to me or to DLSO. So he doesn't have that space. Just straight go to the water. So let me just introduce him. Ramesh joined Wipro in 1988. In fact, I didn't know much about him during the Wipro days. You know, one of the Wipro G, my journey to Wipro G, he promised, and last time I told what he promised, even if you mess up, you can come back and stuff. So one deal with the Dr. Victor was that I need people, so you should support me to give people, which he promised, and he made an attempt. But that's the first time I knew about the corporate politics. Yes. Victor will try to support me, but somebody else will oppose. It was going on for some time. So the first breakthrough we had was, we had a campus interview at IISc. So we had to allocate people. Victor called me. We had an allocation process. We just allocate somebody to Wipro G. So I said, I am not giving, you are taking from the campus. That was the first we got. Next, actually, for some reason, Ramesh left Wipro and he was coming back. So Victor called me. He is coming back. Why I take him and then give it to you? Why don't you talk to him? And then when I talk to him, and I like him and I like him. Okay. Then the journey starts with the Ramesh.
Actually, GE was moving from proprietary hardware to Motorola based, and we are giving a proposal from Wipro. We are about 4 or 5 people, and I work with Wipro, and I'm not sure who is the person from Unix. It could be the land manager or someone. With that, we went and gave a presentation. At the end of my presentation, the first question asked us, what time is it in India? So I said 2:30 a.m. He just looked at me, you are very alert. When did you come to US? I said, yesterday I came. And they were all so impressed that they couldn't believe that we could do the project. So nicely laid out, support from Deshmukh. After all these things, finally, they did not give the project. Okay? It's very difficult to justify to someone saying that somebody from Wipro or JV can do this transition. And there was about $1.2 million project. It's the first project. And the person who wants to call somebody here, those days. And he waited for 1 hour to get a call connected. And I got, looks like he got a message in Tamil. He was trying to articulate to me, they heard this is a Tamil. Okay, coming to the story, they said that, no Vijay, we'll give you a pilot project, you do well, and then we'll take it. So we got a pilot project, and Mr. Side told him whether we will take this project. It was a small project, for about 8 to 10 weeks of project. And we are delivering. This 8 to 10 weeks also split into 2-3 phases. Some here, some there, and stuff. But getting visa is always a problem. So finally we are delivering. 4 o'clock was a meeting set up. They are going to do acceptance. As usual, we are all nervous. When we walk in, we see a big cake. They have already done some acceptance. There's absolutely no box. So we are accepting. Because the first. So that became a yardstick in terms of what we are capable of delivering. So that we were telling about this, that it is one Leslie Zanoni, right? Leslie Zanoni, and her husband also is working. So word was around in terms of the quality of delivery. Thanks to English. After the dinner time I go there, people see me in the restaurant. He has got people like Ramesh. Not that hungry. So then, so we were doing projects, and then we need to have more projects coming from Japan. And initial projects. They said, why don't you keep a person in Tokyo? It will be much easier for you to get projects. So finally, I decided to go with Ramesh. I asked him to go there, spend some time. After 4 months I went. 4 months. Ramesh was talking in Japanese. I asked him, there is a weekly classes are there, weekly twice or thrice classes are there. I attend those classes. And he became an expert in Japanese. So we started getting more projects. Not because of our capability in technical, but more because of the Japanese language. So subsequently he went on to many projects in GE and was very well respected by everyone. And when there is a problem, you call him for a meeting and he will be the question to solve. To some extent, he sounded more like a Kailash. Okay. When there is a problem, call Ramesh. So he can ask right questions, get into the bottom of the problem and solve it. So I left GE in 2000. And I think in 2003 he went to Wipro. 2003 he went to Wipro. And again, I had an opportunity to give about his background to Pratik. Pratik called me, hey, he's coming over here, I want your opinion and so. So I gave him an opinion. And also all these things I do. And after that I was following Ramesh, and he was doing a fantastic job. Okay. Because always, I think Dr. Mitra always says that he's proud of people who he has groomed. So we also feel that. And we have groomed people as we have. So Ramesh is one such person. And recently again I had one round of discussion on the AI, and I just called him for discussion. So he came prepared with a PowerPoint presentation. And it's not a PowerPoint in management level, PowerPoint is a technical. So he took me through, and we were very impressed, and I told him that probably I need a few more sessions to understand. He's giving me a set of references which I need to read. So I have to go prepared. Not other way like that. When he came prepared to so with this, actually, I will call Ramesh to come and give his talk. And he's working for the Benji investment and consulting with K Vale and introducing the artificial intelligence into their portfolio of companies and managing the companies and stuff. Very impressive.
You've been very generous. I'm a bit nervous today because the very four folks who hired me from IISc are here. So it's a privilege, and as well as I need to do a good job to justify that I've been hired in group well. So contrary to what everybody has said, that I will try to be as high level as possible in this meeting to tell a story on artificial intelligence and not get very technical, and I will also tell you what we are doing on portfolio company, and lastly what we are trying to do for India as a country, and that would be interesting, and then probably learn from your experiences. So foremost, let's ask, is artificial intelligence a new thing? The fact is that we are in fourth industrial revolution. So industrial revolution is that where fundamentally what we do changes and how we do changes. That is the concept of industrial revolution. The first industrial revolution is just mechanizing. The second industrial revolution is invention of compute, which changed the game. Third industrial revolution is internet, which again changed the game. The fourth industrial revolution is artificial intelligence. So the question is it new? Right? And I just wanted to lay out something. What is artificial intelligence? It is a machine trying to do what a human is doing at a very, very high level. You can dig 100 holes into that definition, but let's stay in that currently. But if you really look at it, brain has neurons, and neurons are connected, and neurons emit electrical signals, and there is a synapse, there is a chemical serotonin that takes the electrical signal from one neuron and passes on to the other, and so our brain is an n-dimensional network. You know when it was invented and when it was written? 1946. In 1956, the word AI is called artificial intelligence. Some say the father of AI is John McCartney, some say that it is Alan Turing, but most of what I have learned in college is John McCartney is the father of AI. But they are all in the same group. Marvin Minsky, John, those who have done any course on AI will read 3 books, from Turing, from John McCartney, and from Marvin Minsky. So it is 1956. Okay. The first implementation of neural network in computer happened in early 1965. Okay. So all this predates my birth. So you can decide whether artificial intelligence is new or old. Okay. Then there were a lot of models that were built, but
AI course in my US University and I was doing my PhD in 1970.
We have not hit the college at the time. So it's a very old topic. And what has changed is that many inventions happened, incremental inventions happened. Predominantly it was a research topic. Till such a point, in 1986, You all would have heard Jeffrey Hinton. He's in the news every time. He's called Godfather of AI. Canadian, associated with Carnegie Mellon University. He invented something called backpropagation. Or that is the way to train multi-layer neural network. Okay, because training a neural network was a very, very hard thing, and both computationally and as well as algorithmically. So it became a very tough process, and there was not much happening till 1986. When they happened in 1986, then they have a model. From the output, you can go and train all the components. So that gave a mathematical model and a programmable model to train artificial neural networks. Then all of them went and started, he and his students went and started a separate company. And to cut the story short, that was bought by Google, and it was called Google Play. Okay. And fast forward on to 2017, there is a paper that was written by actually an Indian in Google, which made it simple for the neural network to be trained. The paper's name is "Attention is All Is Needed." Okay, and that paper gave out a model called a transformer model, which is a model of a neural network. When you say GPT, which is very much there, the T stands for the transformer model. Then everybody started doing variety of things on this transformer model. And till such a time it became public in 2000 when GPT-3 was launched for everybody and became a lot of buzzword. But actually, if you really look at it from 2017, it's going on. Google had a version of AI models called BERT. Meta, which is the Facebook, had, and a lot of other companies in the US had. Then Jeffrey Hinton's student and his co-worker at Google Brain or DeepMind and Andrew Ng and all, they went and started another startup that eventually became OpenAI. And his name is Ilya Setsavaka. He's a Jew, Russian, Israeli trained and living in Canada. And if you really look at it, a lot of AI-related work happened in Canada, not in US. And the credit came to US because everybody came to Carnegie Mellon. After that went to MIT, and after that went to Stanford. These three became a big hub in the US, but most of the work happened in either Israel or in Canada. Okay, so if you really look at it, why Jeffrey Hinton is called a godfather is because all his students became big in every country, including OpenAI. And so the OpenAI gave the GPT-3. Why is it a seminal innovation? Because of its applicability. Right? So far the models, the AI models, used to tell what is there in the model and get an inference if you ask a question. This is the first time we are going to go and predict. Based on what is there in the model, you can predict the future. First it became a text-based prediction, then it became audio, then it became video, and it became code as well. If you really look at it, almost all the object-oriented languages that we are being taught, from C++, Java, R, Golang, Python, anything can be generated from the code. So in fact, it is a little bit scary for an IT services industry because the concept of coding and testing is gone now. Right? Because you get the routines generated, etc. It's a big question. So beyond this, there is a utility for the generative AI. Okay. So it has only 2-3 components at a very, very high level. Suppose if you have a corpus of knowledge, you must have a mechanism to represent the knowledge, just how the neurons are represented in our brain. We call that as vector database. Okay. And if you have then you must be able to talk to that vector database. So now you are talking through the chat, and so there is a query processing engine that breaks down the chat and then queries the vector database and gets the context. Moment you have the context, you have to give it to an inference engine. which is your large language model, with ChatGPT, Bard, or Claude, or many things. So if you stitch these three together, you can create an AI application. But it's not that all the AI application has to be chat-driven, right? Imagine you create a software that breaks down the query, that creates the context, right? And gives to LLM, assembles back and give it. And then you have eliminated this chat. This is called an agent in AI. So if you go to a lot of travel sites in US have started, you just have to speak in natural language. Where are you going? What is your interest? What do you want to do? What is your budget? What's your, how many days you can spare? It will give you an itinerary with the bookings directly. So essentially what you do, the way you search for the information has completely changed. One of the profound impacts of generative AI is the $50 million business of Google search. Right? It has a very, very profound impact on that business. So the components that I said, create a knowledge base, create a query engine, create an inference engine, stitch together at a very, very high level is called RAG. You will see this in newspaper also, retrieval augmented generation architecture. It's there. So this is about the evolution of AI so far. There are a lot to be done and a lot of other ethics and morality questions to be addressed. But is it useful? Yes, it can be useful. So how? Suppose if you restrict the knowledge to the corpus that you are giving and not focus on anything outside that, it is possible to get very good inference from AI. It is possible to get very good prediction from AI. Limiting this is called controlling the temperature. Just like how we control temperature. So limiting this temperature in the firm that I am currently working, it's a fund house. What we have done is we have invested over the last 12 years, and there are so many legal documents that are available, that part of the investments that we have done. So we wanted to check, for example, if I'm investing in a pharma company, I want to check what is the precedence I've taken in the pharma industry. Is this clause valid or not? If not, if I made a mistake, I want to propose, you can refine this. Okay. We have created a GPT based on GPT-4 using the retrieval augmented generation architecture, and we call it as Druid. Just in asterisk comics, it's a legal GPT. Now we have infused all the documents. It is getting pounded by lawyers now, currently. By December we will release it. So one of the issues that we have is, when we are on the negotiating table, your partner calls, what do I take? What position do I take on this clause? The call gets interrupted there because it gets referred to some legal house, they take their own time. So the whole momentum is lost. If I can provide a first level of information, which is 90% correct, but later can be legally vetted, then it will be a lot more predictable. Okay, so we are doing that. The second thing is we do have public investments and we do have private placements. In the public investments, every morning is very important for us. Like just you have a stock market ringing bell, you just have to understand how much, what is the information, what has happened overnight, what has happened in the stock market over the day, and it has to come at 8:30. Today it's a very, very manual process. So if we can ingest and give it to an LLM to summarize that information, which is a very, very basic 1-hour kind of a case study, we can begin our day better. Okay, we do. Then third is very interesting. So a lot of us have heard, many of us have participated in our quarterly calls as well. How many of you think that you have continuum in every quarter calls? What you said and how do you track? Okay, I'm very sure you know the answer looking at the smile in the audience. We can do a sentiment analysis and actually the truth that we can catch this. Whether that is one other utility that we are developing. Then if you really look at on the private side, the whole of the investment cycle, it's all about creating a thesis of a sector or a company. After that you evaluate. Okay? After that you give a term sheet to them saying that this much money I am going to put at this valuation to them. Then after that you go and manage. If there are 4 processes. So we have started an initiative to infuse AI in all the four places. We call it a smart initiative, smart prospecting, smart. It's in infancy. I believe that it will take me an year to get through this process. But we have learned a lot in the last 6-7 months of the grind. So hopefully things will move fast. So like, what are we doing with our portfolio companies? They are not so interested in going through the grind, but they want to appreciate and use AI. So we are trying to introduce them as a co-pilot for their sales and customer support, etc. But one example I'll give you in the lending industry, how it works. Let's say you are Tata Motors. Okay, you have thousands of dealers in India and millions of dealers in India. So if I have a B2B lender and I have to go and lend to the dealer, I want to know whether the dealer is worthy credit, and I don't want to give money to him. Let the anchor, which is Tata Motors, raise the invoice. I pay to him and the dealer pay me back, right? Now, if I were to choose 5,000 of that million guy, what is the process that I'm going to do? Today it is very, very manual. Now, feet on the street, cold calling, or Pomodis email. It's a very, very inefficient process. So, but the anchor has all the information on the dealer. If I can get that data, I can determine which 5,000 is credit worthy for the million. Okay, so these are the kind of utilities that we are working. We started a big one with TVS because they have a big credit line business, and the other one that we talked about is we are active in pharma industry, and so this may be of interest for women in the group. How do I invent a new perfume? Right? If I have to form a new node, I need to form a new chemical. Right? How do I do the research? There's tons and tons of information that are available across the net. So can I summarize and synthesize using generative AI models? Right. So that we are trying to do with one of the companies that we have invested in, because we are in the need of expanding that business. These are the widespread use cases, and this is not limited to these cases. It evolves on a daily basis. And where do we go from here? If you really look at it, the world has serious shortage of GPU, which is the compute engine for the language models, right? And possibly those of you who are invested in NVIDIA will reap a lot, because it has run up, $1,000 more right now. But also it's a single point of failure. So if we, people are trying to bring up AMD, but Microsoft is doing its own chip, and Google is doing its own chip, etc. So that is one place where we can go and probe what is happening. Second is the growth of AI models. How do I get more context? How do I get more memory, etc. Then there is a contrarian thinking. If I were to get AI models on your phone, on your watch, I can't have this kind of compute power, this kind of data, etc. How do I miniaturize the models? These are the evolving technologies in this field. Okay. Finally, to conclude what we are doing for India. Okay. So, see, the Prime Minister's office is very interested in creating some place for India. So we have given a proposition for building an AI data center, because we don't want the data to leave the country. So we've given a proposition to build a data center for AI in India, which is called Bharat AI. And because semiconductor is a young thing in today's investment, we work together. Currently, where we are, a bunch of IAS guys have or scrutinizing that before it goes to the PM table. But it's a very, very active stuff that we are doing. Second thing that we are involved, in fact, my tomorrow is dedicated for that, is that how do I build large language models for Indic languages, right? And so there is a professor called Videography who is actually, if you're looking up, he worked with Nandan Nilankani on Aadhaar, and most of the architecture for Aadhaar is done by him. And good to work with him on trying to infuse Indic languages and build model. Government started an initiative called Bashli, which was there in papers, etc. It didn't go very well, but this is a new stream that we are taking up. And the third one is a little interesting. It's my personal passion. And the pendency in Indian codes are very, very high. Okay, so can you provide some assistance in terms of clearing that pendency? First problem, it will be a cognitive search of all the Indian law and judgments. Okay, you cannot intervene in the last stage where judge is to write judgment. That's a holy grail. You can't touch that. How do you support him and make him act faster? And also, how do I create an arbitration platform using AI for petty stuff? Right, and resolve it, but the judge will be a retired district judge or a high court judge, etc. But the judgment will be recorded in the court so that it is enforceable. So these two dimensions on which AI can help in legal. So in US, what they have taken is they have taken the complete US law, especially the constitutional law of US, and created an ontology. Ontology is like a knowledge graph. Right? And through which you can search. So now we are funding, anyway you have CSR, 2% of your company profit has to be funded. You're funding few people to create ontology for Indian law, and working with IITK and IIT Delhi to start it, just like in the IIT Madras we are doing the Bashli, the Indic languages stuff. We are doing it. These are the three big initiatives that we are trying to do apart from the investment growth. So it's been an honor to speak here. Happy. I hope I kept up to my time. I was looking at the watch, and agreement on the. So the ethics is a big thing, right? Biden has signed an agreement, but what it says is, follow these principles, right? It's not a law, signed so that it is executable, but there is a lot of debate. But in this space, Dr. Mita, I was telling Vijay Rajan, you cannot keep up, right? There's so much of data that you get bombarded every day, and you have to keep reading continuously. And my own belief is that it will become law. It's just taking a course right now. It's an executive order now. It will turn into a constitution law shortly. And please expect something in India as well on the civil alliance. Thank you. It has been a pleasure.
Thank you, Naresh. So if any one of you have one or two questions, you can ask Ramesh before we hand over to a few of the people who would like to share the perspective. Keep it very brief, and one thing I can say is that really in a simple layman term, Nagaraj could explain artificial intelligence. It has been very useful for all of us. I wanted to share one of my experience actually. Why I am saying that I could understand this is that in 1985-86 I got promoted. And the title given was Manager Dash Technical. Somehow I misunderstood Manager minus Technical. So RVS, Sudeep, Kalyan, these people are HR guys. When you give title, you have to be very careful. Now I understood something. Thanks a lot. So questions, please go ahead, Alex.
Non-technical question. Are you working with Are you working with Dr.
with Dr. Pushpak Bhattacharya, who is an ex-Wipro. No, I don't know him. IT Bombay.
Founder director, the IT partner founder director. Now he's gone back to IT Bombay. Sitting there. He is working on sentiment analysis in that piece. And same way, when you talk about, he works for the next step. He is doing big thing in
I have a meeting coming up in IT Bombay. I definitely take this in. You are my boss, you can't ask questions.
Could you please highlight on some of the caution, especially in not losing competitive edge for a country like India?
So, I just wanted to tell you a story on what happened in Samsung. If you know, the retail version of the GPT is OpenAI, chat.openai.com, which has come. Everybody got excited. They started uploading a lot of information. That time, the terms of agreement is that whatever you upload, it is the IP of OpenAI. Samsung's engineers have put the state-of-the-art VLSI design in that. Okay. And they completely lost out the market edge, right? Because it became public and it has become the property of that. So when you do that, especially in the corporate world, when you do that, go through proper AI service like the OpenAI Azure service. Don't go to BART or go to the Google's corporate AI service. Then you have an agreement and a legal reinforcement, and that the data is yours, the IP is yours. Second, you can ask, where do you want the GPUs? Right? In India, there's not much of a GPU. For example, for the legal GPT, that Druid that I talked about, I'm not trusting the US law and the European law as well. So we went into GPU in Japan. So my data is repatriable. I can wipe out the content when I want. So this is one of the reasons we are trying to work with Indian government to set up AI data center in India to safeguard the data for us. So your data privacy and where your data is resident and what is the, who owns the IP, these are the three things that we should look for. Hope I answered.
One question I had was, when AI started some time back, a couple of years back, there's a lot of focus on bias in training data. And there's a lot of focus on saying AI, there has to be explainability of that, right? Otherwise, in court of law, you'll have trouble in terms of taking decisions. Now the focus seems to have shifted on guardrails and stuff like that. So, has all this important thing, I think all of them are extremely important, have they all got lost in this whole storm of GPT?
See, if you really look at it from a research perspective, model drift is a reality. Even human drifts in logic. Model drift is a reality. So it's a big thing. So that is why I said you can control the drift if you control the temperature. Put a boundary to your knowledge corpuses. Only use the inference engine within that boundary. It's a reality. And that is why the retail version of the GPT or the part gets dumber and dumber day by day. Okay. In fact, just one, in software engineering, there is something called observability. We go and check how the code, what all the path it took, what the test. In AI, there is something called observability. How do you get that answer is very important. If you round the boundaries, you can repeat that path. If you make it very open, like the retail version of the GPT, it's not repeatable. You ask the same question asked in a seconds interval, you get a different answer, I get a different answer. So it's a reality.
vacant for asking questions.
Are the Indian universities getting into teaching prompt engineering? Because that's the biggest thing for AI to succeed, right?
Prompt engineering for the user, there are courses. You don't why Indian university. You can go to Udemy or Coursera and attend prompt engineering courses. But data sciences and AI has become a very, very important curriculum, both on engineering schools and as well as in management schools. Yeah, definitely. I know a person who is doing BSc data science, forget about engineering. It has come to academics.
Any more questions? Okay, Alex has one more question.
Is it possible for the model to come in, when you give certain questions, it hallucinates, right? So is it possible for the model to say that it's actually hallucinating?
No.
Okay, now anybody wish to share any perspective on what you are doing in the AI space?
In next year, we established 12 years of normal IT services company with a clear purpose of providing employment to small for graduates focusing on knowledge. The purpose has not changed, but what kind of services we give has changed. It went from back office to digital transformation to AM and generative AI. Today, 80 or 90% of our workforce is working on items related to Gen AI. So what does this mean? Basically, we are not technology people. We use technology. We work with all these companies which Ramesh mentioned. When they need people to provide data, interpret models, evaluate models, and all those things, we are doing it from small towns, just graduates. And results are very, very encouraging. And it proves that we don't have to be only IIT graduates or IIC graduates can do this kind of work. This is part of that work which can be done by even smart graduate students, and we are doing it. And personally, one thing I did a couple of weeks back, I was asked to give a keynote in a management school about students who are graduating. You need to give a keynote. So I went to ChatGPT, general version, and said I want to give a keynote. So what do I do? So I gave something which was not good. Then I said, look, I am so-and-so, I have PhD, I have this work in Wipro, some points, and this is the audience, so many numbers and all this. Gave a better version, much better version. Then I said, it looks prescriptive. I don't want to be a prescriptive, I want it to be suggestive. And you should be kind of that I should be giving myself. It changed the whole thing. And everything took 3 hours. Normally, for such a thing, I would have taken 1 week. So, it is useful, but you should be careful where to use, how to use, how to implement. So that's all I would say. Anybody else would like to share whatever they have done in that area?
Complementing what Ramesh did, I just wanted to add more dimension to it. See, we are living in a real world. Right? So now AI is something, the fodder that it needs data. Right? And, I see the number there. So fodder it needs is data. So the important thing going forward is that we are existing world, which is large, lot of established systems. So how do you marry the real world with the power of AI? Right? As a single human being, you can sit down and give a lot of prompts, and you can use it as a thing, or even algorithmically you can feed something to it. But still, the real problem is how do you get the connect to the real world? So that's where the real, going forward, is that how to marry robotics, advanced robotics with AI. Okay? So there are so many things which are being done. There's thousands of people doing a few things. They can do things. They can use machines. Now, if you can actually make it happen through robotics, so then you can do things at a large scale, get that data in and out. Right? So you get the data in first by having married the robotics, get the data somewhere, then apply all your artificial intelligence and all the different techniques. And after the decisions have been made, you need to feed it back, right? To again connect back to real time. So the only thing I wanted to emphasize, the world, the way it will move, because the real solutions need to become from the real world, is where you marry very smartly the AI with the advanced robotics, and then play the game. But computer vision. Yeah, I'm actually going a little more beyond that. Because that's some of the things that we happen to be working as well. So there's a tremendous amount of that, and that's where anything which is if you are only in the digital domain, you cannot actually, it's just one dimension. You have to be covering the entire space. So for that, a lot of people must be having different ideas. Think about this dimension as well. Because AI has become a buzzword. Robotics is a buzzword also, but two together means complete revolution. But right, Sheriff.
It's not something that I'm doing, but I just wanted to tell something about a startup that I met, which was just 1.5 months old. And what they had done was they had basically just put a wrapper, there's a terminology for that, right? What you plug into the AI model. Anyway, they had put a wrapper around this thing. They were providing medical advice. Medical advice. Okay, so if you want, let's say I have a chronic back pain or I have XYZ problem, what should I do? So first thing they have done is they have trained it using only a few selected sites instead of letting it train on the whole of the net. So there's one doctor who has then selected some 15-20 sites and trained only on that. That is one. The second thing they have done is they have introduced a factor of empathy on it. So it gives you an advice, and then also it gives you some directions, and then also tells you, this is a problem, this will get away, a lot of people have this problem and it got solved. So you feel much better when you see the result of that. And this whole thing they have done in just 1.5 months, 2 people. Right, one doctor and one technical person. So this is the kind of transformation that one can have. And another thing, again, a warning for people who are using ChatGPT is that it has got this tendency to hallucinate, especially if you ask for references. Okay. So my son was doing something, and he wanted some legal papers and all that. So it asked a question, gave a sort of a decent thing. He said, "Can you please give references?" So it gave proper links to various things. You click on the link, it goes over.
Anybody else before we move to the next one? Partha, Shanti, come.
Limerick. I said write a version. I said my prompt was Wipro R&D Pioneers is a group of engineers and technologists who have accomplished many technological feats and contributed to Wipro's success hugely. They are having their annual reunion and celebrating. Write a limerick about this. So I've actually many limericks, I'm just reading one. Wipro R&D pioneers so bright. In tech, they have reached a stunning height. At their annual reunion, innovations their communion. Their success in technology takes flight. So to let you know a secret, any birthday party, marriage anniversary, anything, if I am called, I write something and I'll...
Okay, Partha?
I wanted to share a very interesting experience we had 2017, I think. This is, AI was just catching up, but it was still not a buzzword. So we had gone to Stanford to meet Andrew Ng. And at that time, the big thing was explainability in AI. So we had sponsored a chair and all that, but that's not the story. The story is about meeting Andrew Ng. And he made some stunning statements in 2017. All of it is playing out now. One of the things he said was, the beauty of AI is what human beings can find it very difficult to do, AI will do it very easily. But what human beings naturally do, AI will struggle to do. And he gave a very good example. And taking on Kare's example of machines plus AI, he said if you have to build a machine which has to hold a wine glass and lift it, it's a big struggle. But if you do million computations and all the references, you'll do very easily. That's one statement he made. And then he said, the real future of AI evolving will happen. He gave an example, and I don't know the problem got solved or not. He said, just imagine, and he was talking in the US context. He said, just imagine there is a cross-country road, no stop sign, rural road, no signal. Just imagine if you are driving a car and I am driving a car, and both of us reach exactly at the same time. Then what do? We will do some indication, some manual indication we will give, and that's how we manage in the world. But I don't know what will happen if two autonomous cars, completely autonomous, no signal, no stop sign, comes simultaneously at a junction. What will happen? And I don't know. He said, we don't know what the answer is right now. And he said, that is what will decide whether really AI is improving or not. The third thing he said was talking about model migration. And he made this statement in 2017. And he said, companies across the world, and he was talking in the context of Mindtree at that time, he said, companies across the world, you should not be spending time on building models. Models will be built by 2-3 people in the world, and it requires that kind of power. You guys have to figure out how to use that model in your context to meet your customer needs. And that's exactly what it is playing out. So, fascinating that people are able to imagine how things will be. And it'd be interesting to go meet somebody like Andrew Ng today, maybe Nagarajan, you should go meet him and ask him what is he think will happen in the next 5 years.
Thank you.
Just meeting him next month. See, there is an institute called Stanford HAI Institute. HAI stands for Human Artificial Intelligence. So you can work together, a lot of problems on how to solve this through, large language models, and you've tapped them on to solve some of the difficult problems in the investing, in trading and investing, trading for public market, investing on the private placements. So part of that group I'll meet Andrew Ng.
Thank you. There are no more questions. We'll move to the next one. Before that, I want to call Ramesh. Come over here. Ramesh? Yeah. Ramesh of stores. I'll tell you, when we started to think about the venue for the meet, we first went to Boring Institute. They had the staff day on November 1st, so we couldn't do it. Then tried the Indiranagar Club, that also had the staff day on the same November 1st today, so we couldn't get. Then I told Moses contacted Ramesh. Ramesh had connects in this club and then got the place. But it is not getting the place. I'll tell you, artificial intelligence can do many things. But sometimes some real intelligence is needed to get things done. And more than that, the execution. So yesterday, somewhere around 7:30, Ramesh told that he's going to the place, he will check whether everything is all right. And nothing was all right actually. Yes. there was a card game or something going on, and the place was chaotic, cozy was going on. So somewhere around 10:30 he called me and then he told everything is fine sir, the place is cleaned up and done. Today morning we come at 9:30 and there was a blaring sound of some music going on over there. And I called Moses, I told him that nobody can hear anything, can you do anything for this actually? Moses told, sir, those people are auto guys, they will go manual if you go and then interfere. So, we didn't have a chance. Then we told Ramesh, we had to arrange a mic. In 10 minutes he got it done. Thanks a lot. Thank you for everything. So we have just two more on agenda. One is the Wipro archive team asking about what they are looking for. And second thing, so you will speak after that or before that? Before that, Divakar will speak for 2 minutes. And then, at the end of it, we have a group photo. So please be around. Let's finish the group photo, then let's move on to the lunch. It's very difficult to catch up. Okay, so come over, Divakar.
Good morning. I think just a minute. This is just a thought that came to our mind when we were meeting many of you here. Because when we meet our colleagues here, what we find is that your mind is very active. You are doing many things in many ways. Some are leading some of the product initiatives, successful, some are entrepreneurs, running companies. So we had some idea that why don't we harness all this in some form or another and first we create a platform for people to get together with these ideas and then whether we can make something big out of this. We have so many bright people and many of them have just retired, some of them are just starting it. I don't want to mention any particular name, but all of you know that. So this is just an idea where we can take it forward. What Dr. Mehta suggested is we can help us in creating such a forum and then start meeting in smaller groups. Whenever we need, we will enable that. For example, myself, Dr. Rao, and Jani and Dr. Mehta, we meet often virtually. And then we can take these ideas and help people in some form or other and then see whether we can make something big. That's just an idea. We thought we'll present you that. You want to add anything? You want to add anything?
I'll request Dr. Rao to come over and speak for a few minutes. I'll tell you, any complex problems in the world, you take it to Rao, he will simplify it in 2 minutes. I always had the pleasure of he being my boss and my mentor. Whenever I ran into any trouble, I used to tell Dr. Rao. He will say, Johnny, listen. And then he will say in few words how to take care of it. It's so simple, so nice. Thanks a lot, Dr. Rao. You can speak for a lot
I will make it too simple. First, I will share a joke on AI. Exactly 50 years back, it was 73, 74, where Dr. Mehta were all there in the ECA. So the joke was, AI was at that time the most talked about and the least used technology. So I used to joke, it is only useful to get PhDs. Now it took 50 years. Okay. Now exactly the joke will reverse. AI will become the least talked about and the most used technology because it will become all pervasive. So I still remember that 50 years back joke on AI. In fact, I used to meet occasionally for some business meetings, people from IAS, and they used to talk about they used to work on AI. And then, they said we used to joke about AI had done in those days. But really it took 50 years for AI to and then become an integral part of it. Soon, whatever we do, going to be AI enabled. So coming to this event, again I will mention about how lucky we are and to make this event an annual event. Because I will share you my experience. We went to Andhra and then I was talking to my brother that why don't you meet some of our batchmates? And then he said, no, talking here about meeting the batchmates, no. All our batchmates are migrated. So if you want, you can find them in either Seattle or Dallas or Bangalore or Hyderabad, but not in these places. So then I was wondering, what is this migration? Because we know one migration happened 96-2000, 4 years, where everybody went for to building careers. Okay, and we also lost many of our colleagues during that time. And I never heard about the second migration. Now the parents are migrating to US, this workplace, to join their children, and some permanently. Okay. So, why I am saying this group, we have defied both the migrations. Okay. We defied the first migration, stayed back, and now also I am hoping that we have defied, we have overcome that temptation to go and settle there. So, it is an opportunity for us. I am really saying that Bangalore and the state were so lucky to meet once in a year. Okay. And setting my example, I could never meet any of our college mates afterwards. So it is good and initiative by Dr. Mehta and Roman and few others. So let us make it a point to meet every number first. And it is a privilege for us to meet all of us in person. And
I'll just a few words on the Wipro arcade team and introduce them. And I want you to keep it very short as much as possible.
Yeah, I want to introduce the Wipro archives team, Ajit, Anusha and Anindita. Now, they are here to collect whatever material and memorabilia from Wipro that you have. So what I urge you is whatever you have, you see in your home, you might be throwing it away anywhere. Now you please give it to them. It will find their place in the Wipro Museum, which they are creating. And I myself have already given up everything I had. Or rather, Ajit came to my house and he selected whatever he rejected. I have got with me. So
raid happened. ED raid happened.
ED raid happened. No, but I controlled the raid. Yeah. So I'll leave it to you.
It's more like a CBI investigation of trying to find out stories. So we have met many of them, come many places in Intranagar and all. So you see here one of the few messages which we got from and so we have some ID cards, old ID cards, brochures, if you have any old computers, shirts, anything. You can make your imagination, because our imagination is very limited to what we know about global R&D and all. So we have a small postcard also. So whatever you have, you would like to donate to the museum as well as the archive. I've got a bag with me. Please kindly share as much as possible, payslips, anything, research documents, whatever your creativity is the best thing you have. So please, everything. We want to show as much as possible of the R&D. Please, if you can connect us to your clients who have hardware from Wipro, please, we would like to have you to cultivate. I'm ready to go any lengths to, we all, I care to do any lengths to collect materials. So we feel call us. I'll give you my number, the contact sheet, and send it to everybody else. Please do contact.
Good afternoon. We had started this project many years ago, and all of you have been very generous with your time and sharing the stories with us. We call ourselves the Wipro Story Project. We believe that those stories make us who we are. That informs our culture, and our culture informs the work that we do. And we are very proud of Wipro's culture, which you have been instrumental in building. Any memory of your time with Wipro is very precious to us going forward. This museum's objective is to keep perpetuating our pride in our past and to build a legacy for our future. Wipro should know where we came from and where we are going. And your stories must be part of this. So anything that you think is irrelevant, leave it to us to do the rates and figure out. Whatever you can help us with, please. We have an entire archives at your disposal, and we will find ways to preserve it. Yes. So the two most significant things that we want are old hardware, because the Series 386 machine is the only one of the old and the star products that we have in the archives. We don't have any others. And as many photographs as you may have of those times, because, Dr. Mitta has been very generous in giving us all the product brochures that we could find. We have some memorabilia. Even to do a 3D recreation, we need photographs of those products. So if you could please spare some time in pointing us towards the right direction, towards clients or buyers, even that would be good. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Wipro Artist. So, will there be a part 2, the Wipro book that was done? You don't know. So, this collection is more for the Wipro Museum.
This is from the entire Wipro Story Project, sir.
Sure.
To our next project, which is the museum.
Okay.
Once the museum is up and running, there will be exhibitions. And the reason why I emphasize this is our book has been a very highlights of success stories and memories. It has not been everyone's story. It has not been every story. And we want that program in the museum to address these.
Okay.
And there will be other products as well.
Thank you. So, no, Dr. Mitta was talking about the hardware. I don't know whether any people were allowed to take their hardware after the project. But he has given immunity. It doesn't come under the integrity policy. Please return that. Thank you, sir, for that relevance. And another one, I have a request for Ramesh. I'll tell you that we have multiple petabytes of data, images, voice, video, everything, but all of them are in our mind. Through artificial intelligence, if you can tap and give it to Wipro Archive team, we are most welcome to do that. We will look for some announcement next year. Thanks a lot. It is a wonderful meet. We will now assemble for the group photo, and post that we will break for lunch. Thank you.
Sir? हाँ, front पर. Sir, close. Okay, va, Akash. Fresh one up. இவங்க 2 பேர் கேடு சார். போ.
Okay, ready, sir? Ready? Wait. Wait, sir, wait. Wait, sir, wait. Okay, ready? Yes. Sir, ready? Smile. Okay. Thank you.
Thumbs up. Sir. 1 minute.
Okay, ready, sir, ready?
சொல்லும் போது thumbs up சார். கேபிள் எடுத்துறேன். ஆடி கேபிள் எடுத்து வச்சு.
Yes, sir.